Hello and welcome everyone. Today we will explore the effect of Flip, formerly Flipgrid, on student perception of collaboration. During this time, we will explore the context, problem and questions, the data collection and analysis for the inquiry, and current findings pertaining to the project. Next, we will discuss how the findings pertain to the literature, explore the implications, and find our conclusion before visiting our references for the project. Let's begin. First is the context of my inquiry. The context for my inquiry projects takes place in a third grade elementary ed math classroom at an urban school in Tulsa, Oklahoma. I came to work here after previously working as a third grade teacher. There are about 57 learners who were asked to participate in this inquiry. Of those 57 learners, 38 of the learners are considered below the 50th percentile in math based on Oklahoma standards. These 57 learners are broken down into 3 class periods. Class period 1 has students from mid-high level to high average. Class period 2 has students ranging low to mid-high. The class period 3 has students ranging from low to high. Students have not been exposed to Flip before this time. Next, we will have the problem and questions. Since starting in November with my students, I've noticed a lack of interest and participation in collaborative learning. These students have a negative viewpoint of collaboration and do not look forward to being placed into groups or do projects, group work, or any sort of collaborative learning. Furthermore, the students do not display the skills needed for collaborative learning to occur. To explore this problem, I've created 3 guiding questions. The first question is, what is a third grade math student's current perception of collaborative learning? The second question to explore is, does the weekly incorporation of Flip affect the perception of collaborative learning? And the third question is to guide the research. How will a third grader's perception of collaborative learning change after putting collaborative learning skills and strategies into authentic practice? Throughout my inquiry, I will be using 3 different forms of data collection that I will analyze to find results. The first form of data collection will be through field notes. These field notes present my thoughts and observations throughout the whole process. On here, you can see 3 different examples of field notes throughout the experiment. These will help answer my guiding questions in the future. The pre and post survey will be given to students to see their change in perception once Flip is added to their weekly routine. The pre-survey is to answer the question, what is the current perception of collaborative learning? The pre-survey has 4 questions. The perception of group work is the ordinal scale question. The question was explained to students as a 1 is a person who really hates group work. A 2 is someone who dislikes group work. A 3 is someone who doesn't care whether they do group work or not, such as a neutral feeling. A 4 is someone who enjoys group work. And a 5 is someone who loves group work and prefers to do that over independent work. In the post-survey, students were asked 2 different ordinal scale questions. The first question is how they feel about group work without Flip using the same scale as the pre-survey. The second question is about group work using Flip with the same scale as the pre-survey. Furthermore, in the post-survey, it asks the students if they prefer group work online via Flip or on paper. We will explore these data points more in the analysis and findings phase. The third data collection completed were through reflection interviews. Originally, I wanted to do pre and post interviews to see the change over time. However, time within my classroom did not allow for this. These interviews were created to help me see insight into my guiding questions. Due to the lack of time, I modified the collection method to be a reflective interview of their thoughts throughout the process based on 3 questions. What did you like or dislike about group work before Flip? What did you like or dislike about using Flip? And which type of group work do you prefer? The students' responses were enlightening to the inquiry. As we head into the analysis, we will look at the methods used to analyze our data collection. The first qualitative data we will analyze is the field notes. I analyzed this via thematic qualitative analysis. I first separated my field notes into 3 activities being performed. From there, I compared the qualitative data between the 3 classes and their level of engagement within the activity to find the themes within the engagement. The surveys provided a key insight into the students' perception of group work. This quantitative analysis took ordinal scale data on a linear continuum similar to a Likert scale. Here, there were 47 learners who participated in the pre-survey and 42 learners who participated in the post-survey. 5 students were considered null and void due to this change. The results were compared from the pre-survey and the post-survey to find the significance or noticeable changes in the data. The reflection interviews provided insight into the learner's perception. The interviews were analyzed via a qualitative thematic analysis. Students were separated into 4 different groups based on previous academic data in reference to the Oklahoma Academic Math Standards. The 4 groups consisted of high, mid-high, low-mid, and low achievement. From there, themes emerged between the students based on the interviews. Let's explore the overall findings for the inquiry. The field notes provided themes. Students were engaged while on Flip. Whether students were creating videos, watching videos, or interacting in the comments, students were engaged and seemed to be in an overall positive mood. I had 2 instances throughout the whole inquiry where the students did not get along during their Flip time. This was due in part to previous behavior issues. At this time, it is not directly correlated to completing the Flip activity. I noticed students were asking to get into Flip during free time, whether that be recess, morning time, or free time during class. I was pleasantly surprised to see this theme of engagement. The surveys provided a key insight into the students' perception of group work. The pre-survey resulted in a higher percentage of students not caring about group work versus either liking or disliking group work. More students liked group work rather than not liking it. In the post-survey, it has been observed that most students either love or like group work. No students displayed any dislikes or hating group work. In comparison with the pre-survey, this is a huge shift in ordinal data. Student perception about group work is affected by the use of Flip. Prior to using Flip, 47.8% of students either loved or liked the group work. Post-Flip calculates at 87.5% of students enjoying group work on Flip. Even more so, not one single 3rd grader said they hated or didn't like group work using Flip. Of the learners who scaled Flip as a 3, these students had not gotten as much time spent on Flip due to absences of testing. I'm interested to see how their viewpoint would have changed had they had more exposure. A surprising finding includes students preferring online group work to paper group work. Previously, I believe students would be hesitant about online group work due to the pandemic learning. However, I found that students prefer online group work 87.8% to 12.4%. Of that 12.4%, all but one of those students is a high-achieving learner. This shift to online work as a learner's preference is in part due to the change in methodology of education and the growing exposure to technology and video platforms. Reflection interviews provided a real insight into specific students' overall perception of group work or collaboration. Samples of the interviews can be found above. In the high group, most learners did not care about or did not want to do group work before Flip. Each student classified as high mentioned wanting to work independently. These students found themselves enjoying Flip, most mentioning that they liked talking to the class online. However, they would still rather enjoy a pencil and paper activity over Flip. The mid-high and low-mid had similar trends. These students liked group work prior to Flip and found themselves loving it after completing Flip. Their favorite activity was actually filming the videos and their teams. The low students did not like group work prior to Flip. Several students mentioned not being able to help in their group or feeling left out. Using Flip, they felt included and like they could easily complete their work. One student mentioned that he had a harder time writing, so it was nice being able to film or type instead of writing. It's time to discuss. First in our discussion, let's explore the reflective pieces. These findings present a lens into the minds of 3rd graders. I was hesitant to think they would love this idea of collaboration online. Since the pandemic, many students are wary of technology and using it within the classroom. However, I was excited to see and find that students were positive and ready to use the site. Let's revisit my 3 guiding inquiry questions. What is a 3rd grade student's current perception of collaborative learning? Does the weekly incorporation of Flip affect the perception of collaborative learning? How will a 3rd grader's perception of collaborative learning change after putting collaborative learning skills and strategies into authentic practice? Moving forward, I would encourage others to place an emphasis on teaching collaborative learning skills to the students in a more effective manner. I would like to focus and explore this further. The literature and the annotated bibliography provided the grounding that I needed to pursue this project. Let's journey through how the literature and my inquiry project are linked. The literature provides great insight into the practicality of Flip in the elementary ed classroom, including its use as a collaborative learning tool. Throughout my project, I noticed themes that are present in today's literature. Collaborative learning is based on an important notion that we must all work together for the greater good, and clear expectations for both the students and teacher can make that happen. This theme agrees with Jade Guy and colleagues who believe that clear expectations and an actively engaged teacher can make group work successful. The second theme present in literature is the theme of Flip as a successful educational resource. Throughout my project, I saw Flip increasing student engagement and allowing students positive opportunities with technology. I agree with Tim Green and colleagues when they mention Flip is a vital resource for the teacher's toolbox to build community within the classroom. I hope to have added to this literature and furthered examples of Flip working in an elementary ed classroom. Let's visit the implications of the inquiry. Throughout this process, I have grown in a multitude of ways. From confidence to tenacity, I have seen progress within my practice. A noticeable moment within my study included what to do when something wasn't working. I had to change things up to meet the needs of my students, and it worked out for the better. I think this will be something to remember as I head into more research and further my instructional design practice. The learners who engaged in the inquiry provided key insight into the minds of 8 to 10-year-olds. These learners are quick to understand clear expectations and enjoy dabbling in the video technologies of today. The use of video technology allows for greater access to quality presentations and inclusion within the collaborative process. Most of all, they look forward to coming to class every day to get to take part in their class's videos. In my practice, I plan to incorporate Flip as a key element in teaching SEL and collaborative learning skills and strategies. Furthermore, it has unleashed a part of me that is no longer afraid of trying new technologies within my classroom, as long as I set clear expectations within a positive environment. Overall, the effectiveness of Flip in affecting student perception of collaborative learning is astounding. A few things to consider moving forward is to setting clear behavior expectations, allotting appropriate time for feedback, and explicitly teaching collaborative skills and strategies. I look forward to the future growth of Flip and its use in my future blended learning classroom. Thank you so much for watching and learning with me. I hope you give Flip a try if you feel it would be a good fit for your educational journey. I'll look forward to Flip's future in my classroom and maybe even yours.